IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast, where we discuss magic quite often nowadays, right?
That's true.
We had an episode about magic last week.
I didn't
Non-fictional
realize
magic.
the continuity of these two episodes just happened to be back to back. Yeah.
We were talking about Darren Brown last episode, and this
Yeah.
week we're talking about another kind of magic, the non-fictional kind.
The
less fictional kind.
The less fictional. No, the less
The
non-fictional.
more fictional kind? What am I saying?
Yeah.
The more fictional.
I was just going to say the less interesting kind.
Oh.
Yeah,
well,
because Darren Brown was great. That last special of his, which I finally caught up to, I saw it. It was excellent.
This is an update on last week's episode.
Yes. Because Jishnu was taking me through what Sacrifices is about, and I was just like, "Oh, cool! I should check it out," and I did. And it was great. But this time I'm prepared. Obviously, I had to watch only one movie. We had to watch The Crimes of Grindelwald, Fantastic Beasts. Before that, sorry,
Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts.
What is the full official title of this movie?
Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of
Grindelwald. Did you notice that the entire
Grindelwald.
movie... Yeah. Why is there suddenly a German inflection on Grindelwald?
No,
He's
so
like, Grindelwald.
did you see Jude Law on Stephen Colbert?
No.
So he was on, and he was talking about, obviously he was talking about Grindelwald and stuff like that. And Stephen, obviously, who's a super nerd, he was just like, so, I noticed that everybody is just like Grindelwald, when it's actually Grindelwald. And Jude Law's just like, well, yeah, I came into it saying Grindelwald, but everybody who is saying Grindelwald don't know him as well as Albus does.
Right.
So that's why he calls him by his real, like his proper pronunciation. But everybody
Which is
doesn't.
with the German F in there?
Yeah.
Grindelwald.
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 But I don't even know, is Grindelwald like German?
No.
Because he sounds a lot like Johnny Depp.
But I feel like in this movie, they all started doing it.
So,
At some
Newt's
point,
commander
yeah.
is fairly consistent, always
Right.
calling him Grindelwald.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone is. I think
No, but,
Tina is the only
I noticed
person.
Lita called him Grindelwald.
Yeah, I think also because she's newer to the film. Tina is the only person who in the beginning of the film says Grindelwald, and I think later on says Grindelwald. So it's pretty bizarre. Having said that,
I wonder if people... but it's a subtle difference, right?
yeah, you can just say Grindelwald.
Grindelwald.
And just nobody cares.
Hey, Grindy.
Yeah, exactly.
Grindy is what I have in the evenings. It's healthy.
You know, I was
Oh,
hoping
no.
you wouldn't, but we did. So,
I only did it because I knew you were going to.
I restricted myself.
You consider
I
it?
stopped myself. Less like green tea. I don't.
Much like Darren Brown, I read your mind.
Or like Queenie.
Or like Queenie. Legilimens.
Legilimens,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Let's circle back
Let's
to...
go back to the first film.
What? Yeah. We recently rewatched the first film.
Yes.
Now, I remember distinctly enjoying it the first time.
Same.
Second time, same.
Same, exact
I still
same.
feel like it's a solid movie.
Dude, what a great movie. I've often said this, that my favorite Harry Potter film is not a Harry Potter film. It's the Fantastic Beasts and Where to
It's
Find
a
Them film.
Wizarding World film, shall we say?
Yes, it is. You know what's really great about it is that it's not, maybe it's because we're all done with school and everything like that, that, you know, we don't need any more Hogwarts stories. Like, we just want to see what people our age would be doing in the Wizarding World. And Fantastic Beasts was an interesting, new story at least, because the premise obviously is based on a charity book that was written by J.K. Rowling, of course, which is written within the world of Harry Potter itself. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a textbook that he uses in his curriculum in Hogwarts.
Yeah.
And so she ended up writing two books. She wrote Quidditch to the Ages, and she wrote this book as well.
Yeah.
Later on she did one more, no? Beedle the Bard?
Tales of Beedle the Bard.
Yes, yeah. All three things which have been referenced as books within the Wizarding World. And so she ended up writing these books as a fun way for, you know, a lot of nerds to kind of get in on some more information. This is, I think, prior to Pottermore and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of people bought into that. They thought it was a great success. And then I think they've used it very cleverly as a spin-off to the Wizarding World. Which is how
they
got
just
here.
used it as the vaguest of jumping off points before they went. They gave Newt a whole backstory that didn't really exist in the books.
Exactly. I mean, it was so cool because I thought what was really special about that first film, and I know it teeters over the edge into this whole good versus evil thing. I know it does towards the end of that. However, what I really enjoyed was the premise of this really awkward British wizard who comes to America to, you know, obviously free a bird that he's been, you know, taking care of.
Yeah.
And then, you know, his suitcase explodes and he has to go and collect all. It's very Pokemon-like. There's such a huge marketability for it.
Exactly.
It's like a no-brainer of an idea. It could have been a great kids movie. As it were, it was anyway. This movie takes it like
in a very
800
different direction.
steps in a
So
different
what
direction.
is amazing about the first one also, I feel like it's a great premise. The characters really, really work for
They
me.
shine so well.
Yeah, Newt is a solid character.
Dude,
and
Kowalski,
the,
my favorite.
Kowalski is great, right?
He
And
shines in that first
the
film.
fact that they made it 1920s America is just great because both those women are also just spectacular.
They're
like
amazing,
Pop
yeah.
and Tina is a great character through and through.
Yeah.
So is Queenie, who reads minds. They all play into, like, they're not exactly stereotypes, but they're different archetypes from what you're used to in the Harry Potter world.
In fact, my favorite thing that is broken is the fact that there is a nomad or a muggle basically in these films. Who is Kowalski, who has no business being there, but is just such a wonderful
and it
character.
expands the world so nicely,
Yes,
right?
it
He
really
does react the way you'd expect someone like that to react.
Amazing.
And
what else did you love about it? I can tell you in 2 words.
So
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell was great.
Amazing.
I still, when I rewatch it again, for some reason, the equation between Tina and Newt really gets me.
Yeah.
It's just so good. That's
It's
like
really
that
well
scene where
made.
she sees him off at the port. I was like, oh
So good.
man.
Yeah.
It's like he came to America to free a bird, but then he met a bird.
Oh, snap up. Very good. Yeah,
I love that. Colin Farrell was great.
I think the themes were really strong in that, about how I think they tried to develop it further here, but we'll get into it.
So yeah.
So first movie, great. What is the finale of that film? Is quite an interesting turn of events
Where
because
you have the Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, who done it?
He pulls off Colin Farrell's mask and it's Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and he would have gotten away with it if it weren't for his Fantastic Beasts. But yeah, so which is actually true. That's how he catches
it.
Yeah. So the cool thing is that it turns out that Colin Farrell's character, whose name is Graves, I think.
Yeah. I don't
He's
remember now.
he's basically somebody who's working for MACUSA, which is the Magical Congress of the United States of America, but it's Grindelwald in disguise, who's actually searching for the last Obscurus, which is what happens when wizards suppress their power. They turn into a big black mass entity kind of thing, which has got immense power, but apparently cannot live past a certain age. However, one has, and it's in the form of Ezra Miller, who plays Credence Barebone.
Yeah.
And we think he's dead in the last film. Of course, he's not. It's a franchise, and he's
Let's
back.
use that as a jumping off point into this movie because straight off, what kind of annoyed me about this movie is it dismissed everything the previous one did.
Exactly.
In a ridiculous fashion. There was no explanation. Basically, right at the start of the movie, they're like, we've got to find Credence. And Newt is like, he's dead. And everyone else is like, no, he's alive.
He's alive. He's totally alive.
Now let's do this movie, right? I was like, what?
Yeah, there was nothing... and they try to make up with a
it's
twist.
It's like Newt is the only one who's noticing because Kowalski walks into his house in a very random fashion.
Very random.
And Newt readily asks, as if he's the audience, but you were obliviated. And Kowalski says,
No, I wasn't.
Now let's do this movie, bitches.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot of retconning happening.
It's retconning in a really lazy way as well.
Very lazy, very lazy. It's that's why these two films feel like such different films completely. It's almost like J.K. Rowling, who is the writer now of these films. She stopped writing books. She's writing movies now. And I thought it was a great idea for the first one. Excellent, but I think she saw the potential of what she could have done with these movies, because the first one did extremely well to bring back the Wizarding World into cinemas.
Yeah,
and she's like, wait, here's a chance for me to tell another story. And I know they always plan to do
5 more stories.
Exactly, I know they always plan to do these 5 films, and it was it's eventually going to lead to this great battle that was the first main battle before Harry Potter and Voldemort did it. These guys did it, and that's when it was cool. We did it when it was still cool. Which is Albus Dumbledore and Grindelwald are going to have this big fight that has always been talked about within the books, the main Harry Potter books. But so this is what we're heading towards. I just didn't think it was going to be so shamelessly, such a left turn.
Yeah, and it feels like she's trying to do a retread of the
Harry Potter
Voldemort story, right? There's not enough of
difference.
Yeah.
There isn't enough of a difference.
It's like you took all the beats of the story and then just did it less well. So let's discuss why.
Let's talk about this film. I had it at some time. It's a long one. It's like 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that. I wanted to like it a lot. I really wanted to like this movie, but it's not a good film.
Nope.
No, it's not.
By a long stretch.
Yeah.
To start with, just the fact that the premise is set up so shoddily. It's literally just, remember the guy from the last movie? He's still alive.
Yeah.
No explanation why. and he's in Paris. Let's go find him. Again, no explanation for why he's in Paris.
Why Paris? Because they want to do this kind of city hopping thing. I mean, the first one was New York. Now I think they wanted to add like this French thing. I think that's the design. That's by design. Yeah.
Which, by the way, they did very poorly because there's nothing that feels very Paris-y.
The American one, the New York one, is perfect, right? Because you have all these characters with their very New York accents, especially like
walking here.
Hey, I'm walking here.
That's not even. That's not time period appropriate, of course.
But it was just really reflective of that. Things like Kowalski being part of this canning factory, even though because straight after the war.
Yeah.
So like a lot of that felt like it felt very timely.
And it felt like they attempted it here again. It's like they took the bones of a story, but then didn't build any flesh around it, because it's in. You can see the Eiffel Tower in the background of shots. At one point, Queenie says a semi-decent joke where she's like, I don't know if you're joking or you're just French.
Yeah,
which I thought was a good line.
Yeah.
But that was about it.
Yep.
Nothing else. That felt very Parisian.
In fact, some other stuff also felt a little retconned. There was Makusa in the last one, right? Mm-hmm. Which was the Magical Congress. They don't call it just the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah.
But in this movie, the subtitle that reads American Ministry of Magic, straight up. They don't call it Makusa in the beginning.
Oh, yeah?
Then they go to France and it's just called the French Ministry of Magic.
The French Ministry of Magic.
Yeah. Obviously, it's Ministry of Sound, first of all, if it's French. Anyway, but I mean, it just felt like she kind of said, nah, I can't come up with different names for each, ministry.
They're all just called ministries.
Yeah. Insert name, a place, like location, and Ministry of Magic.
Oh, man, wonderful.
So a few of those things kind of irked me a little bit. Coming back, this movie has a huge number of characters and subplots to go with them.
I was just going to say, how about this? I propose a structure for this episode now.
Please.
Which ideally we should have done.
No, but I think we always have like this, we
needed to word vomit out a lot of thoughts we had.
Yeah.
Now let's try and process them.
Correct.
How about we take a break, we come back, and we go over this movie character by character.
Let's do it.
Alright?
Hey, it's been another great week on IVM Podcast. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This week we have a new history podcast, Echoes of India with Anirudh Kanisetti. The inaugural episode narrates the story of Gandhara, the melting pot of the ancient world where Indo-Greeks worshipped Greco-Indian gods. On Cyrus is joined by Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch. Varun recollects his early days as an intern on MTV Pakra, his many oddball jobs, and his new podcast, Advertising is Dead. Yes, that's right, he has a new podcast. Launching on the 27th, each week Varun will discuss the changes and developments in the business of advertising, branding, content, media, and a whole range of issues that exist within the industry. Episodes are out every Tuesday. On The Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma is joined by author and journalist Matt Ridley to discuss the evolution of the universe, life, culture, our minds, and our futures. On the Geek Fruit podcast, Tejas and Dinkar slowly lose their mind while they're trying to process just how much they were disappointed by the Fantastic Beasts sequel. Last week on IVM Likes, Abbas and Surbi talk about Homecoming the podcast versus Homecoming the show. Also, we're reaching 100 episodes of IVM Likes soon. Share your favorite moments from the show with us and your most memorable recommendations. You can write to us at shows@indusfox.com. Also, send us a voice note if you can, and we'll play it on the 100th episode. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
Welcome back to the Geek Fruit Podcast. We are talking Fantastic Beasts, the Crimes of Grindelwald.
What? The Crimes of Grindelwald? Why?
It came up somewhere, right? The Crimes of Grindelwald? I feel like it's from the canon. It was mentioned in the first 7 books somewhere. Maybe as a book or something?
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't sound
For me, it felt like, how can we write a title out so that we can get the Elder Wand, the Philosopher's Stone, and the Deathly Hallows basically into the logo.
Yeah.
That's all.
Very smart. They literally got all of them in, huh?
Yeah, and I thought it had much to do with that. I thought this was like, okay, cool, we're getting some more dope on the Deathly Hallows. Like, I thought, before the movie we were talking, okay, cool. I was like, maybe now we'll see the introduction of the Invisibility Cloak. Maybe we'll see the Elder One. We do see the Elder One, by the way. Isn't it with Grindelwald?
I thought so.
Yeah, that was the Elder One, right?
But it's not really discussed.
Yeah, it's not at all mentioned.
There.
And it's a different color. If I was not mistaken, it's like white in the.
This is an issue with this movie throughout, where in the previous one the references to the Wizarding World seemed normal. Here it's like they're trying to just push so hard to have it connect to Harry Potter.
I'm cool with some of them, and we see McGonagall, but apparently there's like a big loophole in that McGonagall thing.
Which is what?
Which is that she's supposed to be minus 8 years old in this actually.
Oh.
She was born in 1935.
Right. And this is
in
1920s.
Like, yeah, it's like 1927. So how is that possible? Oh, well.
Okay, let's do a character by character breakdown.
Let's do.
Basically, since all of them have their own subplots and all of them have their own issues. So do you want to start with Grindelwald?
Let's start with Grindelwald.
Because going out of the previous movie, Johnny Depp was my biggest worry. I wouldn't say issue because he didn't do enough. Like, he literally had one line, which was terrible.
Which was Want to die just a little. I don't know. I still till date do not understand what that means.
He wants them to die just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little. So, Grindelwald, who we begin the movie with, is breaking out of the confines of the Makusa prison or whatever. And his entire motivation in this movie, until literally the last sequence, is I need to find Credence because he has a lot of power.
It seems like he's got two objectives, right? He wants to his main objective seems to be that he wants to enslave humans because he says he wants to make them a beast of burden. But his main thing is he wants magical folk to live freely without hiding, right? And to do that, he wants obviously to rule, and he wants to make them a subordinate species. And the only way he can do that is his second objective, which is to get Dumbledore out of the way, because he's the only wizard who can stop him, is what is clearly established in the film.
That's what I think the issue is. None of this is clearly established. We know this, but if you look at it...
It's said a couple of times, right? Like one is Newt
That's all
says
it's done, though. It's just said.
Yeah.
So if you see, there are three objectives he has, really. One is to deal with Dumbledore. One is his larger agenda of having wizards be the rulers.
Okay.
And one is that he has to find Credence.
So I think they're all part of the same thing.
They are all part of the same thing.
To achieve the main guy, he has to get Dumbledore out of the way, and to kill Dumbledore, he has to get Credence.
So ideally, it has to feel like 3 steps, right? Find Credence. It's like save the cheerleader, save the world.
Correct.
Step 1, find Credence. Step 2, deal with Dumbledore, using Credence.
Yeah.
And step 3, take over the world.
Correct.
Now, it didn't feel like that much of a plan, really, did it?
Well, you know what's even a bigger offense is that his plan is not all that different. There's nothing unique about this villainous concept. I mean, it's fine. Here's the thing. The Harry Potter story has always been a good versus evil and love thrown in there. Okay, it's all about love and hope and all that stuff. But I don't think this franchise should have been about that. It started off with a different kind of love, like an acceptance. Like, one thing that I like about the first movie is that, they keep saying that, these animals are misunderstood.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought this movie would go into the homosexual relationship between Grindelwald and Albus Dumbledore, which would have made this series more woke than Harry Potter. But they didn't even say the words.
But they're getting to it, I think. They're building.
Yeah, come on, dude.
They were,
one whole movie just to say that, we were dating? What's the...
They've got to spread it out. There's 5 movies.
Yeah, but man,
they are clearly going towards it.
Why are they 5 movies? I mean, what did this movie do apart from just lay down exposition for another? I don't need this movie.
Exactly. That's issue number 2. All the characters... They have clear goals, but the way they're explained is so shoddy, I think, because you're just trying to stretch the setup into one film movie.
Why? And it seems so unnecessary. And still it was cramped. They had an entire movie to do it without any real progress in the film. They had an entire movie to do it, but there was no progress. What did we see? Dumbledore was can't kill this guy in the beginning, and at the end he's still maybe I'll be able to break this. Come on. I thought, it would have ended with they show him, he gets that little trinket at the end.
Yeah.
And he smashes it, and he's just
let's do this.
Exactly.
That would have been cool.
Killer, right?
But that's movie 4.
Come on, dude. I can't. Okay, so
at this point,
Grindelwald.
I'd just like to say, full spoilers going ahead.
Sorry, we're in now.
Yeah, we're in now.
We'll put Spoilercast in the title.
In case you haven't seen the movie, I would say go watch the movie and then come back and listen to this, because you cannot discuss this movie without getting into the details.
Out of context.
Just it has to be talked about.
Right.
So Grindelwald,
that's his
already very shaky. What do you think of Johnny Depp? I thought he wasn't as bad as I expected.
Serviceable, performance.
It's typical.
But here's the thing, you don't need so much more from him, right? You don't need a Vincent D'Onofrio type performance. You don't need a really kind of villainous Ray Fiennes kind of thing.
Yeah.
You just need a run-of-the-mill guy because his agenda is run-of-the-mill. So you need somebody who can ham it up.
So
as simple
him
as
being
that.
a terror, he never really feels like that.
He doesn't. He just feels like Johnny Depp.
I know.
Being another whimsical character who I can laugh at.
Exactly. There's barely anything.
He's scarier in Willy Wonka. At the end when he, all the flames, and he's doing all of that stuff, that is kind of it's scary because of he's got tremendous power. But my biggest thing was that he was caught pretty easily at the end of the last film.
Yeah.
So I thought he was caught intentionally, a very Joker-esque kind of plan,
right,
where he'll get caught so that he try and accomplish something. But he's not.
But no, that's the other thing that they retcon immediately at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
So you end that movie with Grindelwald in prison? He's not in prison.
He could have been in prison this entire film. It would have been great. Like,
that would have been amazing.
yeah, and then he kind of gets out right at the end saying
I really feel like dealing with the implications. So like writers' rooms do this a lot, right? They end their seasons by doing
cliffhanger.
A cliffhangery thing, and they don't necessarily know the answer.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah,
it's like
great.
painting yourself into a corner and then figuring out how to get out.
Yeah.
They don't just come back and go like, oh, actually, he wasn't hanging on the cliff. He was like he was taking a platform down.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something like that.
Yeah. You write yourself into a corner. That's the best thing about
But
The Last Jedi.
she wrote herself out of the corner. And she was like, he's painted into a corner. And then there was a door right behind him.
Yeah,
so I walked out.
Yeah, man. So I thought that was a little unnecessary. We could have done another movie about, of maybe just to focus on a fewer characters again and add like a couple more. You have 5 movies. They have 5 movies. But because they smashed so much into this, I'm not that interested now in the third one, man. Like, of course I'm going to watch it. But like, there was too much information. Okay, so Grindelwald is done. Next.
Yeah, they just took the same guys and recycled them. That brings us to, let's talk about Kowalski.
Kowalski. Let's say Kowalski and Queenie, all right?
Kowalski and Queenie, yeah,
their little subplot.
Yeah.
Holy crap! How did that get so overdramatic in like no time at all?
It made no sense to start with.
It was absolutely unnecessary.
Their relationship, which was
the whimsical, it was the comic relief of the first film.
Yeah, and it was sweet as well.
And that's real. You made it real.
They tried to make it real. I really feel like they didn't quite get there. They start. What was a whimsical, sweet, comic reliefy relationship in the first one? To start with, she's already like enchanting him to get him to marry her.
Yeah, why? That seems so unnecessary.
Yeah, to start like that. Maybe if you showed that she got desperate at one point and he was always refusing.
Exactly.
And she had to do it because she didn't know any other way out. That would make sense. Instead, you just started with that. And you're like, what is happening? So
unnecessary. Also, yeah, you're right. It didn't need to we needed to see that. And maybe at the end of the film, they could have had this issue that they can't resolve. That, one person wants to get married, one person wants to be safe.
Yeah.
And so, like, her leaving to go to the dark side with Grindelwald, like, you didn't need that, dude. You didn't need that at all.
Okay, I have a couple of questions about that. First of all, why would she do that? Because he's clearly anti-no-maj.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing. He's anti-no-maj, okay? And the other one is that, I know he says that you'll be able to marry whoever you want, but not muggles,
But he's clear, there's clearly a but not muggles in there.
So Queenie
why is she listening to him?
Because she's an idiot.
How is she
Queenie is an idiot. She's an idiot for going with him.
Obviously, but the reasoning of an idiot also has to be explained, right?
No,
this
I know.
Clearly feels
it's bad writing. It's simple.
It's terrible writing. It's clearly just a way to split them up and have her go to the bad side. It's like you, again, took the bones of a story, went like, ooh, what if one of the good guys became a bad guy? And went like, all right, let's do it. Why? Who cares? I'm not saying it has to be like, it doesn't have to be my logic, but I don't see her logic either.
No, I don't see it.
Even if it's idiot logic.
And the other thing is that her whole premise is, I want to be with with Kowalski for
She wants
good.
to go to there.
And now she's separated from him. Like, how does this is not servicing your agenda? It's taking you further away from what you want.
Silly. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So Queenie is a big issue. It's like it's a completely different person suddenly.
Well, it is, and I felt really it was very much a disservice to what they had accomplished in that first film, man. Yeah.
And that brings me to Kowalski, who was in so many ways like he's
the heart of the film.
He was
the
heart of the first one.
Yeah.
What does he do here? Tell me.
Nothing. He just reacts, and I get that. That's his whole kind of thing. That he's a funny guy.
Wasn't right. In the first one, he was a funny guy, but also he was a guy who was amazed by the magical world, who had like his little dream of having a baker's shop.
Exactly.
Which I don't know who's running in London, by the way.
That's in New York.
In New York.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought of the same thing. I was like, wait, I hope he's done so well that he's got some employees right now.
Yeah, but because he's gonna be busy a while.
Man, everything about that first movie is so good. The ending is so good. Remember, like
also there's no. That reminds me, the biggest loophole is at the end of the first movie when this lady goes to the bakery and sees all these fantastical beast-shaped muffins and stuff, and says, where do you get your ideas? He's like, they come to me in my dreams, or something like that, right? And here he's like, actually, I never forgot anything.
No, I think they must. I can still see past it only because maybe she kind of told him that, this, and then he must have remembered. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay. I also thought that, because Queenie kind of kisses him while the rainfall is happening in the first film, I thought maybe that's got something to do with it.
But at least give us that much of an explanation, right? Even that would do.
No, actually,
something as silly as I only forgot the bad stuff is so ridiculous.
Yeah, and she just filled me in and whatever.
Yeah, it's just and the way they did it also was just like so dismissive.
So dismissive. My God, easy now.
Yeah.
Like it could have made like a whole arc out of like him getting to remember, or you could have done like a.
I really feel like it would have been amazing if you didn't even bring him into necessarily the main story.
Yeah.
Have him be like a normal nomad going about life and somehow intersecting with the magical world.
Or even do what's his name from The Flash? The Harry thing where every movie he has to kind of like 51st days, like Abhimanyu, my flatmate was saying, like do something like that. Like there's so many ways to deal with this very like reoccurring thing in many movies. Amnesia is like a huge thing. You could have done it in so many different ways, but they just chose the lazy.
And you have
route.
Again, you have 5 movies. I loved the character in the first movie, and it's amazing that you want to keep him in the franchise. But like bring him back in like movie 3, that would hit me.
Man, it will be amazing.
Or like if he's in movie 2, the entire story is going on, and Queenie just happens to pass by him and he doesn't remember her. Done.
Amazing.
I'm making myself cry saying that.
Exactly.
Why can't J.K. Rowling write it?
Dude, she's just, I don't know. Okay, next character. So we're disappointed with both these two plots.
We're disappointed with them, highly so.
Okay.
I mean, Kowalski just walks around trying to make jokes. He has zero motivation.
Yeah,
here.
he has no mission except to find Queenie. I get it. It's cool. But yeah, not enough. I mean, I get it because he's in love with her. But like, okay, anyway. Next.
Let's talk about 2 new characters, which is Theseus Scamander and Lita Lestrange.
Pretty... I mean, I hate to say this, but quite unnecessary in the
Absolutely
film.
Unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
I don't get what Theseus' entire thing was.
Okay,
what's the dude about?
Here's the really messed up thing. Okay, just to kind of premise it, Lita Lestrange used to be in love with Newt because she felt like she was a monster for doing a heinous act as a child.
Yeah,
and she loved Newt, and he can love monsters, and that's a great line. In fact, that is the hook. If she could just stick to the damn plot.
Yeah.
So Lita says, "You've never met a monster you could never love," which is a great kind of solid line. Which actually made me excited about her character since they brought it up in the first film as well.
Yeah.
And then Theseus Scamander is now with Lita. They're about to get married.
Weird,
but
first of all.
no point in the movie.
Is that discussed?
No, I mean, are they together? Did they look like a couple?
Who, Theseus and
Lita?
Lita? No.
Where do they show affection for each other?
They kiss at one point, and even that felt like
I don't really remember it because like all the time I see Zoe Kravitz on screen, she's just bloody making eyes at Newt.
Yeah.
Or like remembering Newt or thinking about Newt. Like that's it. And I'm just like, why are you even having this marriage, dude?
So what is going on there exactly?
No backstory, no reasoning. The brothers seem to be pretty chill with each other mostly.
Yeah.
There's one point where Newt says, that's the greatest moment of my life, where he sees Theseus being... But I was like, why? You've not shown me any animosity between
Quite
you guys.
the
You guys
opposite.
seem
Theseus
chill.
clearly seems to be reaching out to help
Yeah, he
Newt.
has your back,
Yeah.
son.
So why
Be
is
a
he
grateful
suddenly
guy.
like almost a villain towards the end? It makes no sense. And
Just don't
like
understand.
at the start of the movie, I thought Theseus was like a really sweet dude looking
He
out
seemed
for his
chill.
kid brother.
Yeah, I thought that was a good relationship. In fact, like, I want them both to... Like, my favorite scene, I think, possibly in the movie, is at the end when Newt hugs him
was great.
and says, I've chosen a side. That's, like, my favorite scene.
That would have been a good arc for him.
Super powerful. But squandered as
absolutely ruined. Yeah. And Theseus is the most nondescript character in this movie, I think. Like, what's his deal?
Isn't he the only living boy in New York?
Yeah, pretty much. So, this brings me to another thing that I don't quite get. Why are Aurors so demonized in this by the general public, apparently? Where, like, at one point, Grindelwald...
But that's only because he's speaking to his rally members, right? Like,
sure.
who are opposed to the ministry in any case.
Well, yeah.
Because the ministry are the people who are trying to bring order to the magical community so that they're hidden from plain sight.
Correct.
And these guys are obviously Aurors who withhold that, that peace or whatever it is. And so if Grindelwald has like a bunch of supporters, then they're obviously going to look at the government like how we look at the government in India.
But you see how they portray Aurors to the general public as these like trigger-happy guys that you should be terrified of.
They are trigger-happy. Somebody just killed someone randomly in this movie.
Exactly.
Haven't you learned anything from Harry Potter and use Expelliarmus?
Yeah, it's just like the death curse is being like there are flashes of green light throughout this movie.
It's like there's no traffic.
It's like back in the day there was no regulations.
Just kill whatever you want.
So why are the
They
auras
kill a
such
baby in this
dicks
movie?
suddenly?
Amazing.
Yeah, right at the start. In fact,
I thought that was great.
it was.
It kind of just reminded me of Voldemort and Harry.
Exactly, and it makes sense there.
Yeah, but
because Grindelwald is doing it. But why are the auras such like assholes?
Super trick happy, right?
Yeah. Surreal. And that again, like Theseus
your
and his
auras,
boss.
you can think of other spells except like to kill someone.
Yeah.
Like if a thief comes into your house, so you pick up the phone, call 911. You don't fucking take a knife and stab him in the
or
chest.
you pick up the phone, call 911. 911 walks in and it's like, poof, shoot the guy. And you're like,
Exactly.
what's up, motherfucker?
Yeah, pretty much. My God, that seems so out of. You're right. That's actually a really good point. I didn't think about
It
that.
completely threw off the balance of the place to me. Because the Ministry of Magic, sure, they were always shown as short-sighted. Like they didn't anticipate the threats of like Voldemort.
Always,
They
even
were
in the new
always
books, right? In the Harry Potter books, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm basing it off that. They seem conservative, but at no point did it seem like they were oppressive.
Yeah.
Which is what they're being painted as here.
Like they look like our government now.
Exactly. So this idea of like if Grindelwald came in, I'm going to like over the course of this episode slowly go more and more German with the pronunciation of it. By the end it'll be like Grindelwald. So if Grindelwald, his entire philosophy towards the end of the movie seems to be that the ministry is oppressing us.
Yeah.
These like magicians in power are oppressing us,
right.
and we need to be in power. So let's rise up against them, which is different slightly. It's a subtle difference, but it's different from these no mages and muggles don't have any power. So let's take over the world like our rightful place. Right?
I mean,
he's trying to be like an authority while protesting against the authorities.
I get it. I feel like the only thing I can subscribe to in this Grindelwald's mission, Grindelwald's mission, is the fact that he. And if I was a magician, I don't know if a wizard. I'm a wizard, but I feel like the only thing I would subscribe to is that I think I would trust humans more a little bit. I don't think we would live in a hidden society. I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah. So if you were a wizard and someone came out and said, we need to live among the humans.
Freely.
Yeah. Fine. Subscribe to that.
Yeah.
If he goes like, and we should have power over them.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm into it. I'm slightly evil. Cool.
Yeah.
Where did this business of like, and these auras are putting us down come in? It's like, hold on.
A side quest.
Slow your roll. Yeah. Pick a guy. I'm with your cause, but you have causes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what you talking about, Gellert?
Yeah, exactly, dude. Man, you know, the thing is, my other flatmate we watched the movie with last night, he was like, it had a very X-Men vibe to it, like this Charles Xavier and Eric Lenshaw kind of brotherhood versus, good guys kind of thing.
Correct. He has, he does have a Magneto kind of...
quality.
Yeah.
A Magneto-ish quality.
A magnetic one, might call it.
Oh, God. Anyway, but... Sorry. All right. So, we've done chilling on the auras also now.
Yeah, auras are also
Theseus
done.
and Lita. Okay, sorry, we're not done with Lita.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even get to Lita.
Man, Lita, okay. Let's talk about Lita. If we talked about it in context of Theseus, now let's talk about her in terms of Yusuf Kama.
Wait, I think we should take a break and come back to this because I have thoughts.
This is too much. Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to attempt number 15 to record the promo for the podcast Vartalab.
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 All day, all night, Vartalab.
Oh yeah. It's a really nice podcast, guys. It's with me and Naveen, and it has really nice stories.
Yeah, people come tell their stories, ups and downs, fun times. We all cry at the end. It's like a Karan Johar movie, but in 1 hour or less.
Yay.
Yeah, every Monday. Yeah.
Welcome back. We are in the process of destroying Lita Lestrange's life, I think.
So she couldn't do it herself.
What was going on here? First of all, you can't just pick a lady and make her seem dark and troubled all the time right from the start without any explanation.
Dude, she has one expression in this entire film, which is like this frowned, like really anguished kind of thing. And there's not like nothing else.
Yeah.
But she's happy and remembering the good times. She's also like sad because it's not true
I don't get
anymore.
it. At the start of this movie, she is engaged to someone who she presumably likes. And she's got like a solid job and stuff.
It's like she liked Newt. But, okay, did they explain why Newt and Lita are not together?
No, that's part of my issue. what's this lady's deal? She was
He's like,
with a dude.
she's changed and all that jazz. Oh, dude, she's changed for the better. She thought she killed someone as a kid. And she did.
She did
Okay,
kill
so
someone.
her story is basically there's this entire subplot which is super convoluted and unnecessary. It felt like a CID episode, man. That last thing,
Yeah.
it was so fun in the crypt, basically in the Père Lachaise or whatever.
something like that.
It's like a little crypt, and she's supposed to find out her lineage, which is again done through an unnecessary family tree, which is 3D, like where kids and
When
stuff.
that family tree came in with like the Colombian branch of the thing, I still don't understand it.
It's like Narcos Mexico or something.
Yeah, who were all those people?
I think she's trying to form bonds between that Lestrange and maybe our current
Let me try
Lestrange.
and explain the story to you of
Jesus.
Lita Lestrange and tell me if I've got it
Oh,
right.
wait, and
because I'm not
Yusuf
convinced.
Kama.
And Yusuf Kama. So, oh my god, I'm already lost. Mr. Lestrange kidnaps Lita Lestrange's mother.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's do this. There's a man named Mr. Kama. Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Kama, okay, was his wife.
Yeah.
And basically, she is under the imperious. Another man, Mr. Lestrange, falls in love with her, and uses the imperious curse to draw her over to his side and steal her away from
Mr. Kama.
By the way, that was really creepy also. So essentially, so basically they've had a kid already who's Yusuf Kama.
Right.
And the wife then goes with Mr. Lestrange and has a child under the Imperious curse. That's like rape. That's like bizarre
Of course
shit.
it is.
It's like, oh man.
That was another question
that
I
was brushed
had.
over like that just went by like super quick.
Are we saying, and I feel like they should have said this explicitly if it's the case, that the unforgivable curses weren't unforgivable at this point? Because
No, I think they were. It's just that people were still using them freely. There was no. That's why they hate the ministry.
when did they? But see, did the ministry ever like randomly use the death curse? No, right?
Because they
it's
just gotten a
unforgivable.
little more. Yeah.
They couldn't randomly use the Imperious curse because
This is
it's
true. Or
unforgivable.
Cretaceous curse. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they call it
Cruciatus curse.
unforgivable. It's like, excuse me, sir, I have doubt. This curse is forgivable. It's like, motherfucker, what did I just call it? It's an unforgivable curse.
Oh man, seriously, man. Like I don't know. So she goes, has a kid with what do you call it, Mrs. Kama.
Yeah.
And that is Lita Lestrange.
All right, cool.
Then they have another child,
Yes. A boy
A
called
boy?
Corvus.
Corvus
Yeah.
Lestrange. Now the maid, who's Irma, a half elf, takes the three of them, runs away because she's off the Imperious curse.
Who's the third? The
Takes-
mom also?
No. Irma takes Corvus and Lita and goes
Alright.
onto a ship, the Titanic probably,
Yeah.
to America, to New York. And the ship sinks. But the ship, before it sinks, because Lita can't handle the crying of the baby,
I know.
she
Wow.
goes and switches the child with another child.
Yeah.
Who they think they save, which they do. And that is Credence,
Yes.
who is then given to Mrs. Barebone.
Right.
But the real Corvus is
I
dead
also-
because
now-
he drowns in the sinking of the
Correct.
ship. My fucking god!
And I still don't understand it because, alright,
Okay.
you swapped out real Corvus / Credence for fake Corvus / Credence. Then you saved fake Corvus / Credence, who is now the real Credence, right?
You saved him, correct?
Correct. Once they got to America, why did they give him away and not Lita?
I don't understand.
I don't get it either.
She said something. I can't
Something
remember.
about protecting him or some business.
But what happened? What happened? And how did Lita come back to the UK?
I don't get
But she
it.
went to drop him and come back.
And Irma as well.
Irma also found her way back to Paris. Irma is fine. She must have retired and come back to Paris. It's fine at some point.
Okay, cool. Irma came back.
She came back for studies.
At what point was At what point
She's
was
like, I'm applying to
Corvus / not
Oh,
Corvus given up
of
for
course.
Credence?
She came back to go to Hogwarts. That's why. There you go.
Oh,
She applied to Hogwarts. She got in and went.
who was raising her there then?
Irma. Then after she left, Irma bounced back to her hometown, to a gaon.
Then why did you give Credence away?
Because actually, it's true. Why didn't Credence go to? Because maybe he didn't get his letter.
Yeah, he was
Boom.
considered a squib, right?
Correct.
But why was he given up from the family?
Yeah, it's
and
true.
like thrown away? Especially
No
when
idea.
Mr. Lestrange apparently didn't care for anyone except for Corvus.
This is true.
So what's happening here?
No, Mr. Strange has nothing to say with it because she ran away with these kids and went to
Oh
America.
my God. He lives in France and his name is Lestrange. You realize his name means Mr. the Strange. Oh no.
God. Oh man, yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. So that's one
So
thing.
I don't get that part of it
this
at all.
whole story, and you know what's the funniest thing in this whole thing is that Ezra Miller's character, he's playing it as well as he can. You know, he's just like, who's my real parents? Who am I?
Yeah.
He's like this, you know, this really sheltered kind of really weird kid, and it's so funny because. Yusuf Kama's like, I have to kill the last member because of some Titus Andronicus. What is the name of that book?
the poems of someone something.
Oh my God,
which
so
comes in randomly every once in a while.
It's like, do you know this? Yeah, of course I've read it. It's like it's the Harry Potter of their world, dude.
It's like
yeah, of course I read it as a kid.
Yeah, towards the end, at one point when Mr. Kama,
he's just like saying all these like lines from this thing, and I'm just like, what? Okay, anyway. It was ridiculous.
He just
quoting
in the
like
middle of a
poetry.
serious dialogue, he suddenly starts talking in rhyme, and I'm like, ooh, what?
Okay, Dr. Seuss, put your wand away. But it's like, so he does that, and the funniest thing is Yusuf does this whole story, and he's just like, and that's why I need to kill you. And then she's like, wait, here's my story. And then her story kind of goes
just
on.
like in a circle telling stories.
And then at the end, he's like, so... Corvus is really dead. And basically Credence is like, well, shit, that leaves me nowhere.
I know, his expressions.
He's just like, oh crap.
Yeah,
he's like, literally for fuck's sake,
they literally
someone
cut
tell
to
me.
him. We all burst out laughing because he just cut to him and he goes like, well, this noise, who am I?
It was too funny, dude. It was so unnecessary also. Okay, cool. So this is the chaos. I think this is the heart of the chaos in this film, right?
Right.
It's absolutely that whatever Yusuf Kama, Lita Lestrange, Theseus, all of that shit is like uber unnecessary since we're speaking
Of
German.
course.
Let's move on to some other characters. Newt and Tina.
Newt and Tina, I was also disappointed in,
Yeah,
which is a shame because they were the one bright spot of this movie in a couple of parts.
They are. I still
yeah.
like Newt. I think Eddie Redmayne is genius. Like, he's such a good actor. He's kept that awkwardness going. It's not like he's opened up and suddenly he's like a confident guy. He's still a really weird, awkward guy. And there's a really good scene where he has a little bit of polyjuice potion to look like Theseus.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays Theseus acts like Eddie Redmayne playing...
which was really nice.
Which was really nice. That was cool.
But again, it was maybe a couple of moments between Tina and Newt that I thought were great. And
the one in the records gallery. Where they're looking through the records and they're having that conversation.
Great, where he's like trying to profess his love to her.
Yeah, that salamander stuff was
that
great.
sold me.
That was like,
excellent. If only the entire movie could be half as good as this, we'd be talking about a really good movie.
Yeah.
But
there's some choice dialogues here and there, like a great, like few scenes, very few. Like that salamander one is brilliant.
Yeah.
The one at the end with Theseus is really good. Lita's lines, obviously. So yeah, okay.
But they're barely the focus of this movie.
They're not,
right?
yeah.
That's part of the issue. Like, I don't get why Tina's in Paris chasing Credence, because she's an Auror?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, she's an Auror, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like...
And she knows the case and he's American.
Is the French Ministry of Magic evil? There's not a single French Auror.
There's not a French. And I thought we would see some more French presence, right? Like, you could have had an early good, like, French actor or actress.
Right.
Like, be part of the cast.
What, like Jean Reno wasn't free?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Or, like, with Marion Cotillard.
I know. They're right there.
Why didn't I hear a single Edith Piaf song? But anyway, so that's one thing. Let's talk about the big man of this film, Albus Dumbledore. Albus Yumbledore.
Oh man. Okay, well, let me start by saying I thought Jude Law was okay.
I think he's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine. He's
doing a decent job.
He has all of 3 scenes in the film.
Yeah, quite literally 3 scenes. And he was fine in those 3 scenes. I just don't get what they're setting up his character to do. He accomplishes nothing.
He does nothing. And once again, very much in character, sending young boys off to do his errands.
Because you're like, I see. He's always been like this.
Man. And it's good to know that whether you're magical, non-magical, all teenagers are cutting themselves. Dude, what was that? Okay. let's talk about Albus Dumbledore's
First of all,
relation.
there's one amazing scene where the Minister of Magic goes like, "You guys were like brothers, weren't you?" About Dumbledore and Gellert, and he goes like, "No, you were more than brothers." He should have just gone like, "Ew, no, that's my boyfriend."
Yeah, exactly. Just one person has to go and... Why didn't one person say that they were lovers or like they were dating? They were kids, dude.
I get that actually. I get them building that up because it's the 1920s and it's the Wizarding World, which is even more backward than the Muggle world.
It is, right?
Yeah, of course
Can we
it
just
is.
say that? It is.
Yeah,
right? Okay,
it's
great.
like, I mean, that I felt was evident in the Harry Potter books as well. They're pretty sexist, they're pretty like racist.
Man, they ain't woke yet.
They ain't woke, man. Look at how house elves live.
This is true.
Yeah, so I get him hiding the story, and I feel like it'll come out at some point.
He's Albus freaking Dumbledore. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but why is there no explanation of their relationship at all other than saying they were like brothers or actually more than brothers?
And it's ridiculous.
So here again, J.K. Rowling, I think she's now...
You think she's playing it safe or what? You think this Harry Potter universe is playing it safe? Or a principal character having a gay relationship is not that big a deal anymore?
No, I feel like it's the opposite, man. I feel like she's writing not in a vacuum anymore. She's writing to expectations from Harry Potter fans. Now, she's already said that Dumbledore is gay.
Correct.
And she's
But she's never addressed it in the books, man.
Yeah, and she's going to. I feel like it will be made more evident in the next movie, or maybe the next movie after that, or maybe the next
I don't see
movie.
Jude Law and Johnny Depp kick-ass, like hot, steamy session, I am going to be thoroughly disappointed.
I'm sure it'll happen in one of the next 3 movies, but I feel like they didn't bring it in because they're trying to build, and they didn't exactly build. They just said, and that's the problem to me. Or like, in fact, to put it more accurately, they didn't say, they just said, "Oh, here's Grindelwald, here's Dumbledore,
Exactly.
Like, well,
exactly.
Explain.
Their little sexy hand play with each other and some blood here and there. Ah, man, I don't know. I found it. So, by the way, somebody brought up a really interesting point that how is it possible that they fought? Because why did they vow not to fight or something like that? It's basically like
because they were boyfriend.
Yeah, somebody brought up a great point on the internet that it's like inaccurate with what they've said the books are like, right? Like something about Albus Dumbledore could not have made that little pact with him until... Why did they swear not to fight ever? Like, what was that?
Yeah, what would the reasoning behind that be?
Yeah, unless they did it after a fight, they were just like, "Okay, cool, we're never going to fight again." But, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it just didn't make sense.
I'm
going... Okay,
blood pact.
we should take a break. I'm going to find this article because I think it's very important to what we're talking about.
Let's take a quick break. We will discuss this and some other major revelations.
Have you gotten yourself a gym membership and shown up only a few times? Are long working hours cutting your fitness goals short? How about you change things a little? Even a small effort can make a big difference. And I'll tell you how and what exactly. Hi guys, I'm Coach Urmi, and on the Kinetic Living podcast, you can look forward to some interesting stories of people who have changed the way they look at fitness after their kinetic journeys. Episodes out every Wednesday on the IVM app, website, and anywhere you get your podcast from.
Welcome back to the Geek Fruit Podcast. We are discussing the crimes of Grindelwald.
And I feel like this episode is going to go on longer because the movie's just so long and there's so much to talk about.
We should ideally do 5 episodes on this movie.
We will.
Which makes it a 25-episode podcast. But here's a giant plot hole that we were talking about just before the break.
Yeah.
Which is that throughout this entire movie, whenever someone asks Dumbledore about why he can't fight Grindelwald, he just goes like, "I can."
Yeah.
It's like, it reminds...
I can't do it.
Yeah, he can't. And it's revealed throughout the movie that it's because of an unbreakable vow.
A blood pact.
Pact.
It's different from an unbreakable vow.
Yeah, actually, I suppose so. Because they don't call it an unbreakable vow, right? They say it's a blood pact.
And there seems to be some device linked to it also.
Which is new, right?
Yeah, it's like some near-field communication.
Apparently. So there is a blood pact between Albus and Gellert.
Yeah.
Who I really think people should call him Gellert.
Gellert is such a
instantly less scary,
fucking fly name. Yeah, it's so good.
So they make a blood pact when they're teenagers from the flashback that we see, where they say they'll never fight each other. But in the previous books, the explanation for what happened between Albus and Gellert is that there was a 3-way duel between Albus, his brother Aberforth,
correct,
and Gellert,
right,
in which their sister Ariana ended up dying.
Correct. This is what I was...
So how they were fighting?
How they fought if they had a blood pact going on.
I don't get it. This is a giant plot hole.
It's a huge leap. You know what sucks is that, man, Star Wars has been written by like so many different writers, but they have that guy, the keeper of the holocron, and they have the story group to kind of keep all the stuff in check, to make sure everything checks out with all the continuities, separate continuities, etc. This is all one person. This is all J.K. Rowling, dude.
Maybe that's what makes it terrible, because how will she remember all the information? But this was pretty crucial information, right?
You think she's just like, whenever people ask her questions, she's like, oh yeah, actually this happened, and she's just like on this friggin' fly, she's just making it up.
Yeah, I have seen like a bunch of people just complain about how she seems to be making up backstories willy-nilly. Like Nagini, for example.
Man, okay, let's talk about this one.
She's a lady?
She's a maledictus.
Which is a new thing.
A maledictus is basically a person who's an animagus, but at some point they'll become completely.
Yeah, I love that she is on display in some kind of circus freak show, and the ringmaster has to keep announcing it as though he's explaining the plot to us and going
exactly.
By the way, she will get stuck like this permanently.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he might as well have turned to the camera and gone like, see?
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yes, exactly.
That's why she's a snake later.
You don't have to say those things, we get it.
Yeah.
But I guess
he explains it at least 4 times.
Man, yeah.
So that was terrible.
And also, like, what is that character? Like,
she exists she clearly is there for no reason.
How unnecessary was that? She has no role in this movie except to look like...
To turn into a snake
Asian?
at one point?
That was the whole thing, right? Like,
her
before
name's
the movie.
Nagini.
And she's Asian?
Apparently.
I mean, so are we, but like, we're not.
I saw a thing on Twitter between J.K. Rowling and Amish Tripathi.
Tell me more.
Amish Tripathi, of course, author of that book about the Nagas.
Correct.
So J.K. Rowling said, well, actually, it's fine that she's Asian.
Well, actually.
Well, yeah. It's fine that she's Asian because her name comes from this Indonesian story of the Nagas.
God
and Amish replies to her saying, actually, it's about India and it's a Sanskrit word, Nagini. And she ignored him. Yeah, but she completely ignored him.
Man, that is just dying. It's so stupid.
It's so weird.
I mean, it's fine. I don't care.
There was no
why
reason for her to be there, though. Like, what did she do in the movie?
She is his girlfriend.
Yeah, and like, she's literally like, she's token female, token Asian person.
My God.
Token snake.
Too much.
You need a snake, I suppose. Wait. Let's come back to
token
Albus.
Snake.
So first of all,
Nagini in the end is with whose side? She's a good person.
She's a good person.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, because Credence goes over to the dark side.
Correct.
To the blue side. Why is this movie so blue?
What was going on, dude?
Nobody
also, I'm
that
kind of done with grand CGI battles. Like, this one just didn't make me feel a damn thing.
Yeah, this like blue CGI fire was terrible.
Man, it was
I
really
also feel
bad.
like the creatures...
I would like a more visceral fight. I love the Harry Potter versus Voldemort fight in the end of the 7th book. In the 7th movie. It was cool because they're just fighting all over. It's just like these two...
It felt like they were punching with fire.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool, like, until the last whatever thing. But, like, they're, like, flying all over Hogwarts and all. It was cool. I dug that. But this one is just, like, there was no, like, visceral quality to it. There's no action,
right?
you know, like...
I felt that with a lot of the creatures as well. Like, the zoo and stuff.
The zoo.
Just like, felt like a giant CGI thing.
Anything zoo. What is this one? Zoo.
And that's when, like, Amish Tripathi replies to us, like, actually it's Zuzu and it's an Indian thing.
Actually, it's invented by Hutch.
We've had them in our IPL ads for years.
Oh, God.
Oh, man, so bad. Well, let's come back to Dumbledore and the many plot holes, which is, okay.
That's another story waiting to happen.
That's like 5 books by itself. Dumbledore and the many plot holes. So, this 3-way duel scene is an issue anyway. I feel like they'll easily explain it away by going like, actually, because they had a blood pact, when they tried to have a duel, it exploded. And she died.
Yeah, something like that.
Or like Dumbledore comes in like, actually, no, I didn't. Someone's like, why? I said no, I didn't.
Yeah, and I'm Dumbledore. I know.
But now there's a new Dumbledore in the house.
Let's talk about this last scene. Okay, Credence finally goes over to the other side, and they've become like Nazis now. They're in Austria, just chilling in a castle. Like, what are you, Red Skull or some shit?
Yeah. Now he's gone full Grindelwald.
And he has a skull also. By the way, a lot of this movie is just Johnny Depp taking huge hits from a skull-shaped bong, and telling the future. There's a little bit when they talk about the World War II. He says, if we don't do what we're going to do, this is the future, and there's a nuclear explosion. And it's going to happen.
So clearly he failed.
Yeah.
But also, what? You
You know
don't
what?
get to use the World War II as just like a...
I kind of liked it a little bit because I was
If
just
they'd
like,
done it in any way other than just going like, by the way, here's World War II.
so you magicians knew about World War II and you didn't do anything? Fuck all of you.
Oh, man.
Seriously. Anyway, so he becomes proto-Hitler and goes to this little castle at the end. And there's a throwaway line earlier in the film, which we just thought was like, actually, I kind of like that because it said, Dumbledore says, they say a phoenix will come to any Dumbledore who's in need. And we see Fawkes and all that stuff, and he's there, and James. And then at the end, Grindelwald says the same thing, and you're just like, wait, what? And then this guy's just like, you are Aurelius Dumbledore.
Yeah. Which, first of all...
Dumbledore is the funniest name.
Why didn't he say anything all throughout the movie?
Because it's saved for the ending. It's a cliffhanger ending. It's a script writing, Dinkar. That's what it is.
Why is Grindelwald writing the script?
He's just like, how can I make this so dramatic?
Yeah.
Just gonna wait for the right moment.
Did he know all along or after this whole
Do you think he's Aurelius Dumbledore? What is this Aurelius Dumbledore? Where did he come from? I thought we knew the entire story of the Dumbledores, which happened in the last book, in the Deathly Hallows.
So
we find out about Akira. What is her name?
Whatever. Here's my theory. It's not one of those Dumbledores. It's like a cousin.
He's cousin Dumbledore.
Yeah.
He's like the cousin Hater.
Yeah. He's the
one they don't talk about. It's like, Aurelius, nobody talks about it. I thought Aberforth. Are we going to see Aberforth in these movies? And is it going to be played by Jude Law?
Oh, yeah, I suppose we would see.
You know what would be an amazing thing if Albus Dumbledore... Okay, we have thoughts on this. Do we have any more thoughts? I just want to... I want to do some...
I just think it makes no sense and it's stupid and
it's so unnecessary.
It's for the sake of it, just so Dumbledore can fight. They want a Dumbledore v Dumbledore.
Correct. And you know what's so stupid? It made this thing so much smaller, dude.
Oh,
it's like the reverse of The Last Jedi. People want to know why they didn't imagine. You want to know what would have happened if they said that Rey is Obi-Wan's daughter? Boom. Here. Yeah. This is that.
This is it. Oh, man. So bad.
This is what happens when you like just want to do fan service.
Why? Are you thinking they'll bring in a Potter at some point? It's possible.
Dude,
at the rate they're going.
If I do, I don't know how they're going to spread out the years because I don't know what years she said in the books, but she can obviously change that now since she's changing everything.
James's father, whatever, who gives a shit?
Yeah, we'll find like James' dad.
Yeah.
And he'll be like played by Daniel Radcliffe or some shit.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know, something like that. Oh, and then he will have a scene where he looks into the mirror of Erised and he'll see, I have always wanted a family. In that, he'll see Harry Potter. There'll be a little thing. Man.
Gone.
Okay, so here's my...
Just gone.
You know what would be amazing, though? If Albus Dumbledore dies in this, alright? In this series. Okay. And Aberforth takes his place.
And never reveals it.
Aberforth is Aurelius. Boom!
Aberforth is also Aurelius? No, hey, listen, just stop making up stuff about Dumbledore. Who are you, J.K. Rowling?
No, but I really like, I would like to see the Inglourious Bastards version of this, where they kill Tom Marvolo Riddle in school, and Harry Potter is never born.
Potter never happens.
I would love it. I would love that.
That might be the only way out for this movie at this point. Okay, let's.
You think they're going to use this film to reboot the Harry Potter series?
Oh my god, and create like an alternate timeline.
Or just reboot. Like by the time the 5 movies are done, they're going to take 2 years between every film, right?
At least.
So what? When is the last one going to come out?
No, 2 years is the max.
Do the maths.
3 more movies, right?
Yeah.
Another 6 years at least. We're talking like 2025, 26.
Holy shit!
That's a long way away.
Yeah, and those movies finished about like a while back.
And then Daniel Radcliffe is going to be like 40.
So that's when they want to do Cursed Child, right?
Right. Yeah, when he can be a dad. So then you do Cursed Child.
Then you reboot.
And then you reboot the original Harry Potter?
Or you use the time turner in the Cursed Child to kind of view Harry Potter and then you seed the new characters in there.
Oh my god.
Come
I'm losing it. This movie. This
has become like X-Men, dude.
I know. Let's close it with one simple question.
Yeah.
Short answer. Do you think there's any hope for this franchise?
Yeah, 100%. If she gets her stuff together, like we need to lose a few more characters and we have in this film. Spoilers, I guess. Lita dies. Who else is dead?
No, I feel like she'll come back next movie and go like, actually I didn't die. Only the bad stuff sticks.
Who else dies? Only Lita dies?
Only Lita dies.
Ah, shit. I would like to see, I want to see Newt and Theseus again. I don't want to see Queenie and Kowalski now after this.
Especially because now they're clearly going to make it a whole dramatic thing.
Yeah, so unnecessary.
This
Okay,
movie
I don't want
has
to see that.
exhausted me.
I don't want to see. I want to see more Albus Dumbledore. I want to see that. That's it. I don't want to see.
I
Nagini.
just want to see Tina and Newt go like, screw this. Let's just go.
Let's just leave.
They bounce somewhere.
Do a Daredevil, Elektra kind of thing.
And then
bounce.
tell their story. Like, let them go off into a forest to find more fantastic beasts.
Yeah.
Which is the name of this movie, by the way. Hello?
Fantastic Beasts, but not Fantastic Beasts. the next one.
Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts, not where to find them. No, something
This
like
is not how you do a franchise, JK. You amp up. You go Fast and Furious, then you go too Fast, too Furious.
Man,
you don't care.
We needed 2 Fantastic 3 Beasts,
Yeah.
but we got like half of that, man.
Anyway.
Zoos. Oh my god. I didn't think this movie was so bad until we did this podcast.
Yeah, I've literally exhausted myself saying things about this movie because it's so annoying.
It is really annoying.
It had
I really wanted to
potential.
like it. Yeah, I know. Oh god, and then
So-
Johnny Depp is there.
It's like we just remembered how bad it was.
Okay. Alright, buzz. This is it now.
Enough.
Alright. So,
Please,
Tejas and Dinkar, we
have-
really want to know what you think.
Yeah.
We've really gone off the rails.
Do you
in this
have
one.
as many thoughts as us? Because I'm unraveling, man.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah.
I feel like an obscurial. In that I can suddenly control myself, apparently. For no reason.
Oh, and he uses a wand and everything. How?
I don't know. He
He's
was a
not-
squib who could
he's a-
barely contain his immense power
You
at
can't-
first. Now he's like...
Has no one explained why he's still alive? Aren't they Obscurious supposed to like Obscurious?
Yeah, so in the first movie,
Yeah.
he was supposed to be dead, but it turned out he was so secretly powerful that he could control the Obscurus.
I thought the whole thing about the Obscurus is that they have suppressed their power so that it turns into this, they can, this
Correct,
thing.
yeah.
And usually that kills
One
the
is an
host.
Obscurus, one is an Obscurial.
Who is what?
I don't know. I think the Obscurus is the cloud.
I think Obscurus is all of them.
Yeah.
Obscurial is just the one guy.
No, I think the
Which
person...
is the plural. I think singular plural.
The black cloud is the Obscurus, and the person it happens to is an Obscurial. Is this true?
Yeah.
Or the other way around?
I'm going to
And all of them together are called... Screw it.
Obscuri.
Obscuri. But now suddenly he's completely in control of his powers. He's like a confident young man. He's got a girlfriend and everything.
Yeah, no, not anymore.
Well, no, not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, yeah.
Dude.
Who is Yusuf Kama? Dude? What is this feather in his hat?
I don't know.
And then at some point, at some point, he has a parasite in his eye.
I know.
That makes him pass out.
One of my favorite bits
what?
about this movie was he's passed out and he keeps shouting plots into the air like, I have to kill him. And I'm like, stop explaining your function. You're a character.
My God.
Oh, so bad.
Dude, I thought that was going to lead to something. I thought his eye, something that he was like a Mad-Eye Moody character, was like under Polyjuice, somebody that we know.
No,
something.
friends.
Nothing.
That was a fantastic beast.
He had a beast in his eye. I thought that was so much like Prometheus. It reminded me so much of Prometheus.
It's like she just went over the script one more time and went like, oh, okay.
We need more
One
beasts.
beast in here. One beast in here.
And it's so stupid because there's an intermission and the movie stops at them being imprisoned by Yusuf Khan. I was like, oh shit, are they gonna get out of this one? But it's a direct continuation of that scene. He passes out outside and Pickett comes and undoes the lock and they're out in seconds. Like that was completely pointless.
I mean, Yusuf Kama was completely pointless.
What was this story? You know what it feels like? It feels like this was a book. This was a novel.
Yeah.
Which has like 700, 800 pages. And then Princess saying, new book. And they were just like, no. We don't want any more books from you, Jakes. Just, and this like, actually this book sucks. And she was like, JK, it's a movie. And then boom.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Okay, cool. Shut this down. Let's ask our listeners to help us process this movie because we cannot.
We didn't talk
just
about
cannot.
Nicholas Flamel.
I know. What is that makeup? I know he's supposed to be old, but what? So weird.
And yeah. And just throw in the Philosopher's Stone in his little
Of
cabinet.
course. Yeah. He makes it.
Shameless, man. I'm thinking about it now. It's quite shameless, this movie.
You can write into us at contactgeekfruit@gmail.com or at geekfruithq on all the socials. And just explain this to us, man. I'm out.
Thanks. See you later, you zoo.
Yeah. It's IVM here, let's go. We the IVM kids on the block over here. Just to talk, taking a break from producing all day. Coming on this podcast cause we got stuff to say. IVM Daily is the name of the show. Monday to Friday, we ready to go. Talking about stuff in our head. We might even talk about our favorite bread. Signing out, it's IVM here, the podcast network that's in your ear.
Catch IVM Daily, Monday to Friday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know that Parsis in Mumbai, instead of being left at the Tower of Silence after they die, are now cremated? And why? Because a cow fell sick in the early 1990s. Did you know that the smog in Delhi is caused by something that farmers in Punjab do and that there's no way to stop them? Did you know that there wasn't one gas tragedy in Bhopal, but 3? One of them was seen, but 2 were unseen. Did you know that many well-intentioned government policies hurt the people they're supposed to help? Why was demonetization a bad idea? How should GST have been implemented? Why are all our politicians so corrupt when not all of them are bad people? I'm Amit Verma, and in my weekly podcast, The Seen and the Unseen, I take a shot at answering all these questions and many more. I aim to go beyond the seen and show you the unseen effects of public policy and private action. I speak to experts on economics, political philosophy, cognitive neuroscience, and constitutional law so that their insights can blow not only my mind, but also yours. The Seen and the Unseen releases every Monday. So do check out the archives and follow the show at seenunseen.in. You can also subscribe to The Seen and the Unseen on whatever podcast app you happen to prefer.